let's talk about what the new ASD's annual cyber threat report means for us here in Australia, in plain English from the trenches to the boardroom. First, the big picture. Two main groups are after us. State-sponsored actors targeting governments, critical infrastructure, and bigger businesses to gain strategic advantage by stealing information now and being ready to disrupt when it suits them. Then you've got the cybercriminal economy, often Eastern European or Russian-speaking groups optimized for profit. They steal credentials, run ransomware, and pile on pressures by threatening to leak data. Australia is attractive because we're highly digital, but our cyber maturity is patchy, so there's gaps to exploit. Now the scale. Over the 2024/2025 financial year, the Australian Cybersecurity Hotline took more than 42,500 calls. That's about 116 a day, up by 16%. ReportCyber logged 84,700 reports, roughly one every 6 minutes, a small dip of 3%. The money hurts. Average self-reported losses were $33,000 for individuals, up 8%. For businesses, average losses jumped 50% to just over $80,000. Small businesses average $56,500, medium $97,000, and large around $202,000. Although the ASD warns that big business losses vary largely because of the small sample size and some very large business email compromise hits. On the technical tempo, publicly reported vulnerabilities rose 28%. Ransomware showed up in about 11% of incidents the ASD responded to, roughly steady year on year. Denial of service attacks spiked hard, more than 200 incidents, up over 280%. And identity fraud stayed the number one reported cybercrime, raising a further 8%. Critical infrastructure is a standout. 13% of all incidents affected critical infrastructure. The top activities the ASD saw were classic groundwork, scanning and reconnaissance, up 41%, denial of service and distributed denial of service at 31%, and phishing at 20%. Most affected industry divisions within critical infrastructure were financial and insurance services at 32%, transport, postal and warehousing at 26%, and information media and telecoms at 16%. The ASD proactively notified critical infrastructure entities more than 190 times, up 111%, which tells you how much malicious noise is probing our essential services. So what did the ASD's ACSC do about it? They responded to more than 1,200 incidents, up 11%. Proactive DNS blocked 334 million malicious domains, up around 307%. Their cyber threat intel sharing community has grown past 450 partners, with almost 3 million indicators of compromise shared so far. Proactive notifications to entities surged past 1,700, up 83%. On Uplift, the ASD ran hundreds of high-priority operational taskings, generating tens of thousands of reports, sent about 11,000 indicators of compromise across more than 2,000 organisations, and completed targeted remediation on 38 critical infrastructure assets with more sprints underway. What are businesses actually reporting? The top 3 self-reported threats were email compromise without financial loss at 19%, business email compromise with financial loss at 15%, and identity fraud at 11%. Sectors reporting the most incidents include state, local and federal government, financial and insurance services, healthcare, information media and telecommunications, professional and technical services, transport, postal and warehousing, along with education, construction and retail. A few milestone moments frame the threat landscape. Late November in 2024 saw the cyber amendments to the intelligent legislations become law. Early December brought a joint advisory on PRC-affiliated actors, compromising telco infrastructure globally, classic espionage tradecraft aimed at communications. In February 2025, we got the Foundations for Modern Defensible Architecture, and Australia imposed additional cyber sanctions, including the first against a cyber infrastructure entity. Then in May, partners called out Russian GRU activity APT-28 targeting Western logistics and technology firms, likely linked to the war in Ukraine. Let's get practical. The basics still shut most doors. Turn on multi-factor authentication. Use strong, unique passphrases. Keep software current. Train people to spot phishing. And back up properly and test the restores. Operate with an assumed compromise mindset. If a system is old, exposed, or unmonitored, treat it as already at risk and plan accordingly. Then make the big moves the ASD is pushing. First, best practice logging. Get high value events into a SIEM and actually look at them. Alerts, dashboards, and someone on the hook. Second, replace legacy IT. If you can't rip it out yet, isolate it, restrict access, and put controls around it. Third, manage third-party risks like it's your own risk, because it is. Bake security into procurement, contracts, and onboarding, and monitor continuously, not just at the vendor sign-up. Fourth, start preparing for post-quantum cryptography now. You don't need to swap algorithms tomorrow, but you need an inventory of crypto-reliant systems, a migration plan, and policy positions so you aren't scrambling later. A quick story from my sysadmin days. Every ugly business email compromise I dealt with started in the same way. One reused password, one legacy mailbox rule no one noticed, or one alert that went to an unmonitored inbox. None of them required a nation state. It just needed a small gap and time. Close the gaps. Reduce the time. If you do nothing else this week, do these 5 things. Turn on multi-factor everywhere. Rotate any shared or weak credentials. Patch internet-facing systems. Review your logging and make sure someone is watching. And rehearse your incident response. Who calls who and how fast. Report suspicious activity to the ASD quickly. That speed helps them help you, and it lifts the entire ecosystem. Thanks for watching, stay safe and stay secure.